everybody. Welcome to Ticker Talk for Wednesday, April 5th. We're going to do a quick little disclaimer, and we'll get right into it. So everything we do here is for educational purposes only. We are not investment advisors, do not provide investment advice. All trading and investment decisions are your own and done to your own risk. I think everybody knows who I am. At least everybody here who's live knows who I am. And if you're recording, well, you can, if you're watching the recording, you can just pause this and see all about me. And if you are watching that recording, why don't you go ahead and smash that like button? We all put a lot of work into these, so it really helps us out. Okay, now that we got all of that out of the way, we'll just review what we do here. So we're here for Ticker Talk, and we're going to hopefully look at a bunch of tickers, mark up some charts, see what everybody has to say. For the people who haven't been here for a while, James, you can just put your ticker into the chat, or if you get home soon and can get onto some better Wi-Fi, would love to chat with you. Live voice. That's good too, and we can even share screens and everything if we want to show some charts that we're actually looking at. So seeing as you're on your way home, James, maybe we should start with Marvin, if that makes sense.
Let's see. Well, I guess I was going to ask you, but I saw you had answered it in my question when we were talking early in the Discord about was it NEE? Yeah, NEE. So I'm just curious about when you were talking the differences between not really forming a typical cup and handle, but that it kind of just forms this forming this kind of like V pattern, really. Yeah. And so but yeah, I was but yeah, that you're saying that it all more likely would probably indicate much more of a not really a strong move or a positive move, but could actually not really work.
Yeah, I mean, typically we want to see them look more like, like a U. Like this is so the deal with this one is it's not very mature. When Bill or William McNeil, anyway, the guy who founded IBD, and this pattern, William McNeil, I'm sure it is. When he talks about these things, he talks about them being, usually like 8 to 12 weeks or longer in formation, right? So this one's really only kind of a month long, and it's got that, as you can see, it's got this really steep, this very much a V in here. You've got sort of the V there, and then you go sideways a little bit, and then then you get up to it, and that makes it a little more like a U. But in a perfect world, what would have happened here? I can draw this properly, and in a perfect world, this would have it would have done just like the purple line you see, right? It would have rounded its way back up, kind of like that, right? Instead of being like steep down and up. And he specifically, I think he specifically mentions this in his book, How to Make Money in Stocks, or whatever the stupid name, terrible name for book, actually. For such a good book, it's a terrible name.
Got you.
But so I guess what I'm getting at is kind of like, if it was shaped more like this, that is kind of the prototypical cup and handle cup portion of the thing that you see in the examples that he provided in the book.
Okay.
Where it's much more, rounded, almost like a bowl rather than a cup, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does, for sure.
Being said, this is still pretty close. And the cool thing about this one is, like, it does have it has a pretty well-defined rim. It's got a pretty well-defined handle. I mean, you drew it quite well. You've got the handle portion right here.
Hmm.
Um, and then you've got the rim across here, and the cool and the rim here too is really, you can start from over here kind of thing and go all the way here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Just move that up a little bit. There we go. Something like that. Nice clean rim. Actually, maybe I will bring this back down. It's not perfect on this one. I mean, they rarely are perfect, right?
Right.
Um, so, hi, Jose. Uh,
Hello.
welcome. We just started a few minutes ago, but I wanted to say welcome because I think you're new here, aren't you?
I've been a member for like over a year, but I've never logged into to any of the calls.
Oh, okay, awesome. Well, welcome. We're happy to have you here. So basically, what we're doing here is we're just we're going over looking over people's tickers, and when if you have one that you want to look at, you can call it out. You can either type it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself, and we can have a conversation about it. But we'll get to that in a little bit. We're just gonna continue to work on Marvin's here. We were talking about this cup and handle pattern. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what you want to look at in a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so where was it? Oh yeah, the so basically the rim of the cup, and you just draw the line across, right? And you were
Hmm.
also talking about the breakout thing,
Hmm.
and so you've got this hammer that is basically, or a handle that is basically a bull flag, right?
Right.
You can play the whole pattern with the same way you would play a bull flag. So you can play the breakout of the handle here,
Hmm.
and that got a little messy, but probably wouldn't have stopped you out or whatever. Or you can wait until it breaks out above the rim.
Hmm.
And I've seen lots of literature about both methods. You can even, some people on a bull flag will play it down from the bottom of the channel. They'll try and enter early down in here. And those traders tend to be traders that are better at mean reversion trades.
Hmm.
Who can spot this kind of reversal off of the bottom of the channel, and then they get a really nice early entry on that. So that's pretty much. I think that's pretty much all I've got to say about that.
No, that was helpful. Yeah, I just was because when when we were talking about it, I was just like, oh well, I was trying to measure it, and I was like, well, even though it's not like a big move, it still looks like it wants to at least. And or at least what I've kind of noticed is oftentimes those big engulfing candles, like the one that it made back on earnings, typically it seems like price action likes to at some point go and attack that, and so it kind of puts it right back at that like 82, like 81 ish at the top of that box that you actually have drawn already.
Right.
Potentially, if this in terms of the strength, if that part of the utility sector is still showing strength, so
Yeah.
still like like a decent move to to still go, to play in potentially. So that's why I was just a bit curious about it.
So I guess we haven't looked at this chart in a while, because this gap now here has been filled, and,
Correct.
and there's a new gap in there. And why won't that? Why can't I click on my gap? Well, this is ever weird. There we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, but we've got this. We've still got this new gap, and you were talking about that. So that actually closed up there, and then it opened down here. So there's the gap that still exists.
Hmm.
And so notice here, and well, you know what? While we're at it, actually, let's draw in a measurement on this. So as you know, we talked about this, or you mentioned this, or somebody mentioned this, the measurement
Yeah,
here.
it was me.
So, depending where you go through, I'm going to go from the rim of the cup to get the measurement,
Hmm.
which should be right about there. You could measure from, the breakout point on the flag too, if you want it, right? But anyway, let's go from the rim of the cup. And this is really interesting, right? Because what does that do for us? I mean, that gets us right to the top of that gap,
Right.
which is pretty fascinating. But the other thing that you want to really kind of watch out for right now,
Hmm.
if you're in it, uh,
No, I haven't. I was just looking at it while we chatting today, while during lunch.
if we were in it, and now you're coming up into here, and you've got this 200-day moving average right here, and that is right at the bottom of the gap as well.
Hmm.
So there's two little reasons for this to find resistance there. Um, Also, this candle today is not ideal.
Right.
It's got it's sort of out there all on its own. It gapped up, and then it put in a bit of a selling wick on top of that candle.
Hmm.
So I mean that sort of suggests a reversal as well. Um, but it's been that kind of week. It's just been a week where charts are a little messy, a little indecisive looking. So I mean, I'm not putting a ton of weight into that. Um,
Gotcha.
what I would rather see is, we see here that we had some outperformance with SPY, and then we underperformed while it consolidated, and that makes sense. And then on the breakout, we're outperforming SPY again. So that's good to see.
Okay.
As far as the RSI goes, everything looks totally normal here in RSI land. So yeah, and oh yeah, I guess before we had last time we looked at this, we must have highlighted this double bottom over here, which has now become a triple bottom. Whoops.
Yeah.
What is going on with? There we go. Holy smokes. There. So yeah, definitely put in a nice little triple bottom here, or double bottom if you count this as one. But I mean, this is solid. This is a solid bottoming pattern in this. So I do expect, like you, for this to continue higher and go test some of these resistance levels.
Okay.
Of course, I'm not all that bullish on energy though, which is
Right.
kind of a problem. Although this isn't actually really energy; it's more utility. So, um, as long as defense is continues to be in play like it has, this should continue higher.
Okay.
There you go. That's all I got.
No, that's helpful. I got one more, and that's it.
Sure.
Verizon. I don't know if you want me to share, or if you want to share, it's
Yeah,
fine.
you can share. I'll make you a co-host.
See if I let me see if I can do that.
And you should you should just be able to share now.
Okay. Great. Let me do this. Yep. Continue. Okay. Can you see my trading view screen?
Got it. Yep.
Okay. So this is Verizon. I actually picked up a couple calls. Probably I can't remember, but I'm just like, the way it's been performing, I was kind of kind of in shock. So I think
Verizon.
yeah, I was kind of. I mean, I was. I think what really caught my attention was it had to have been, I guess, last week. I think I was looking at the month chart, and I saw that like for the month of March, it put in like this nice hammer candle.
Right.
And so that to me was like, oh, I think it's gonna have some strength this month. So I picked up some calls, and lo and behold, like so far it's holding, right? And on top of that, it seemingly this is a strong support line around this 36-ish area.
Okay.
Let me go back. There we go. Yeah, that's typically where it's been holding, and so yeah, I kind of drew this faded line here to kind of mark where I think okay, where I saw it build, tested, but then once it broke through that, I was just like, oh, we'll definitely get back up in here where it seems to be. That's where I have that yellow line marked.
Yeah.
In terms of where I think it probably might, kind of slow down a bit, and or definitely hit the green line. It's like, all right, let me start let me start watching it, which it hit today, and to see if it will. I don't know how it's going to finish off the week tomorrow, but I kind of just marked it here as this is potentially where it's going to probably lose steam before maybe trying to push higher.
Right.
And so that's kind of like how I watch it, because I feel like it's kind of at the bottom and wanting to do something. And then I think I saw a little bit of strength. I think when I was looking at XLC, it just seemed like it was showing a little bit of strength as well. I mean, because I know that Verizon's in there, so that's kind of what I had. And then of course MACD and the RSI, and the volume's been pretty good. So so actually, I bought some shares to invest in, and I'm just holding because I give Verizon money every month. But I bought some calls on seeing this and saying, oh, like it's actually looking like it's going to move. And so yeah, it's behind the 50, and my green line is the 200. So that's the other reason I marked that yellow line, because it's kind of close to where the 200 moving average is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. At 41.
hmm
So cool. So yeah, I mean, you're showing. I think you're showing. Well, your green line. I'm not sure. I actually agree with that one, but
Okay.
40-50. There should be some minor resistance at around 40-50, 40-60.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I had this yellow line here. Let me just, I don't know why I did. All right there.
And then 42, obviously.
hmm
42 is pretty much a no-brainer.
hmm
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually day traded this today
Oh, okay.
with 1 day options.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah,
I wasn't
the
in it
ones
for
I
very
have.
long, but I
Mhm.
caught a good chunk of the afternoon move,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I got out of those options with just over a double.
Oh, nice.
So that's not bad. Anytime you can get a double in a couple of hours is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really nice. I just went to like the intraday because I was telling you, I think I was mentioning about like the open range breakout like
Yeah.
indicator that somebody had. I think I like it. And so once I saw around like at 12 o'clock when it marks the yellow marks the opening, kind of like the range for the opening, and then
Okay.
typically
Yeah.
the indicator marks two potential profit targets for you. So yeah, I saw it make that move. I was like, oh, it's like it's gone. It's probably going to hit up here, which it did. But yeah, I think I got the calls I got are like the $42 calls, and they expire towards the end of May.
Okay. Cool.
hmm
So you got lots of time.
Yeah.
Um, well, that's good. I mean, that's good when you're out of the money. You definitely need lots of time.
hmm
Um,
Yeah.
cool. I mean, I think it's gonna. I don't know. I mean, telcos are so hot right now,
hmm
or communication. These kind of communication companies. Like if you look at, maybe I'll take the share back,
Sure. Sure. Sure.
and
And so I guess just making sure that looking around like you said that 40-50 range to kind of watch out for in terms of rollover or getting.
yeah. Um, you can see I've got an alert there.
hmm
I didn't. I was, when I entered the trade, I didn't know how long I was, or I was thought, if this goes well, maybe I'll just stay in it for
hmm
a bit or leave some in it. And I wanted an alert up in there because I think there's going to be pretty strong resistance there. So,
Right.
but I ended up actually not staying in it.
Gotcha.
This market is just so messy, right
Right.
now, I think when you got some profit, especially on something that was going to be either a day trade or a very short term trade, when you've got a good profit, it pays to take it.
Yeah, and I sold some today. I sold some of my calls today. I only got like a couple left. So those are the ones I was like, let me just hold on to it and see get near that in between that, and then I'll get
But you
rid
can
of.
see how the whole space is strong right now. I mean, look at this move in AT&T.
Oh yeah.
Another really nice one. But again, coming into resistance, right? Not that far off resistance.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other one I'm trying to think of?
With like T-Mobile maybe.
Oh yeah. Not as strong. This is messy. This one. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this. Yeah, this would not be as nice of a trader. Just because it's so choppy and messy. This is the kind of thing that will stop you out. So yeah, you definitely wouldn't want to be trading this one.
Right.
But anyway, so the point was there are a number of these that are doing really well right now. And you know, I'm going back to AT&T, or and we'll look at Verizon one more time in a sec. There's just so much strength in this move right now, and you can see that it's accelerating. Right? Notice how these
Right.
candles are actually getting bigger
Mm-hmm.
as we move up. So that's great. Eventually, it'll just you'll get a bit of a blow off top probably.
Okay.
But so far, I mean, I see no reason why this wouldn't go up again tomorrow. And look at, we've got increasing volume as well.
Uh-huh.
So go back to Verizon and double check the volume there. Yeah, increasing volume, above average volume today, which is good. Pretty much above average volume for like the last 4 days. This green line here is the average volume, 50-day average volume. And same thing here, right? You know, I mean, these candles are getting a little bigger than the ones that preceded them. So yeah, I think this has got more room to move. But again, need to watch out for this resistance. I think this resistance up here at 42 could be pretty strong.
Yeah.
There. And then obviously, if you do get through there, then you got to start looking way to the left, because you've got these gaps that were all over the place from before.
Right.
So pretty good. I think you had the RSI on yours. Yeah, RSI on this looks great too. So no problems there. Good. Yeah, just try and stay in it as long as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my
Or
plan.
until,
Yeah.
you know, until it gives you a sign that it's starting to roll over, right?
Right.
But there's definitely no sign of that yet.
Okay. Good deal. Thank you.
Ooh, yeah, you're welcome. Why don't we move on to Jose? Is there anything you want us to look at, Jose?
I'm not sure. I'm not much. I just kind of started trading, and like this last year, I was like a new trader. I've been killed, but I was looking at SCHD ETF, and also at what was the other one? I forgot the other one, but mainly SCHD, and obviously as everyone Tesla, but mainly SCHD. I'm trying to see if I can get into that, and try to understand that one a little bit more. If you can talk about that one.
Sure. Have I got the right one up here?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so a strategic dividend equity ETF. So this is something that you're looking to invest in, I suppose.
Correct.
You know, and by invest, I mean long-term hold. So this is actually held up fairly well through all of this. It's not, I mean, it's not that far off the highs.
And would you recommend any other? Obviously, I'm looking at this as a long-term play, and any other dividend stock that you think it's like worth looking at. I have seen it said ET. That's I believe that's like in the energy sector as well.
Okay. I think the energy sector is going to be really choppy for a little while. So
Okay.
I'm not too sure about that one. And you know, I'm not the biggest dividend player.
Okay.
You know, there is a channel for dividend stocks and dividend plays in the Discord, and maybe asking there if there's any that anybody likes might be helpful. You might get some there, and also actually, if you scroll back in that channel, you might find some other ETFs that are like this. But this,
Okay.
this doesn't look too bad. I'm actually just going to look at the yield on this. Oh, it's not giving me a yield on it. That's odd. Oh, hang on. Sorry. That's better. Okay, so 3.6%. That's not too bad. But you do want to see price appreciation out of this if you're only getting 3.6%, right? Because you can get, you can get 4 or 4.5 in a money market fund right now, right? So, I think as improves, I imagine that this has a lot of sort of large cap value type stocks in it. And I think that, it's probably pretty safe, and it probably will, as the market starts to move up a little more, we probably will see price appreciation out of this. You can see that it hasn't, this pane down at the bottom, this dark blue line down at the bottom, this is this ETF's performance in relation to the S&P 500. So you can see for the last couple months, it's been underperforming, or actually the last few months, it's been underperforming the S&P 500. Oops, we lost Jose. Well, hopefully maybe he tunes in and grabs the recording on the rest of this. I'll just keep going. So what did I want to do? I want to take a closer look at this thing and see what kind of stocks are in here. So here, why don't I bring this in? I'm just going to shift over to Stock and Lock here, and we can take a look at this here. So, it's a high yield. There's a lot of volume. Must have a big, pretty high assets under management in this one. Oh, super low expense ratio, so that's good. PE's around, 13? So that's a little less than the market. So who we got here? It looks like it's well-rounded across all the sectors, heavy in industrials. I guess actually that makes sense, being a dividend player. Healthcare pretty heavy there. Financials, of course. Not a little more tech than I thought it might have. There's not a lot of dividends out of tech. Not much communication services. So what are we looking at? AbbVie, big pharma companies, Cisco, Pepsi, UPS. Yeah, I mean, these are all, rock solid companies in the top 10 here. Virtually no international diversification. Who else we got? Coke, Pfizer, HD. That one. But I mean, obviously, when you go through this list, I mean, these are all big, solid companies, right? I don't see, this doesn't look to be any companies in here that are going to go bankrupt anytime soon. Yeah, I mean, this looks pretty good. It's a really interesting ETF. So technically, I mean, it's kind of hard to do technicals on these things, because really they're going to, the ETF is going to perform. The price we're looking at when we look at the chart, this is the net asset value of the ETF. This is the value of all the stocks contained in the ETF. Now, this recent pullback doesn't surprise me at all, because if this ETF is so heavy in industrials, then that's what we're seeing right here. That's that pullback here. But it also with the financial pullback as well. But now we're seeing a nice rebound here. What I'd really like to see out of this is for this relative performance to turn up, meaning that the stocks contained within this are turning up. And, the reason for this underperformance, partly because of the industrials, and also because it doesn't have any of the FANGs in it. The super large cap tech or mega cap tech technology stocks, I didn't see high in that list. And those are the ones that have really been driving the market lately. So without those in this, there will be times that it underperforms, and it probably does underperform the NASDAQ. So it might not hurt for you to diversify this one with something that's got a little more technology in it. You know, probably not the QQQ, and definitely not if you're only looking for dividends. Then you know technology is not the place to go. But if you're also looking for capital appreciation, and especially once we come out of this bear market, then you do want some sort of tech ETF. So whether that is just you know the Nasdaq QQQ or the technology ETF XLK is the sector ETF. If that was the case, you might want to combine, you know, a little bit of XLK with some XLC, which is communications. If you want to go like, you know, super risky technology, then you could look at like an ARK ETF like ARKK. You know, this one is fairly conservative. So I think for, you know, to bring in some capital appreciation, it wouldn't hurt to have something a little more aggressive as well when you think that the market is going to start moving up again in a really nice way. I think that's about all I've got on this one. So hopefully that was helpful, Jose. All right. Justin, what's up, man?
Hey Kevin, how you doing? How you doing, Marvin?
I'm good. I'm good.
What's
Good.
going on?
Actually, have the flu today,
Oh no.
I hope you feel better.
but oh, thank you, appreciate it. But you know, didn't want to miss ticker talk. I don't. All right, so tickers I have today is I know you mentioned energy being kind of choppy, but
Yeah.
wondering if you could take a look at PCG.
Okay. So this is a utility company, not really an energy company.
Okay, okay,
Not or you know when I think of energy, I'm thinking of you know the oil and gas and those kind of companies, right? So you know this is a more a electrical generation as far as I know the company electrical generation distribution.
okay,
So I mean I don't think yeah I think they're just electrical. I don't think they do like natural gas, but I could be wrong. Um, so I mean my first thought when somebody brings up this stock is are you aware of all the fundamental issues that this company has with regards to potential lawsuits or ongoing lawsuits and everything that you know going back to well every summer in California, right? when their power lines start fires.
wow. Yeah, no, I'm not. This is kind of just one of those stocks that I ran into just while I was screening,
Okay.
and beyond that, I don't know. I'm not aware of any of those lawsuits.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I mean, if you're just trading it, then I guess I wouldn't worry too much. But I'd kind of want to figure out where they're at with that.
right.
It might be worth, you know, 10 or 15 minutes of research. I mean, looking at the chart's kind of telling me everything's fine now. But if we go way back in time, yeah, you can see when they started having problems,
Yeah,
when they started setting fires. You know, I mean, it was rough for this company. I mean, they almost went bankrupt, right? There was a lot of question whether they were going to survive or not. Obviously, they are surviving, but you know, there is still a lot of overhead here. You know, areas that we should look to for resistance. That little pivot right there is one of them. Actually, that actually comes back way to here too. There, here, here. So there are areas of overhead that, you know, I mean, the thing is, it came down so quickly that it didn't have much time to trade there. So there's probably not a lot of people who are trapped up there. So that's kind of cool. Because you know, it's not, if it had come down slowly and spent a lot of time trading there, then it's hard to dig out of that hole.
yeah.
But it came down pretty quick through this area. So, yeah. So what do we got now? We got sort of, you know, a lot of sideways action. Interesting couple of candles here and here as well. Huh, okay. So does it find resistance here? This is a lot of these tweezer patterns. You know, it had one here at the top. Now it's had one here at the bottom. I would really kind of like watch out. Actually, we got this one here. Obviously, this is a little minor resistance here, and then you've got this pivot high right here. Are the areas you want to watch out for. I'm sure that you noticed all this stuff yourself as well.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously today it came in out of that resistance area and the little pivot overhead. But these utilities, I think utilities today were the strongest sector, I believe. There we go. Yes, was by far actually. Yeah, utilities is the strongest sector today, followed by healthcare. A very defensive kind of day, and then energy came on late in the day, which is interesting. So, I guess what you're asking or wondering is it going to break through here? And
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's hard to say. What's the volume relatively? So it has some nice volume here at the beginning of this little move up, or near the beginning of this little move up. But the volume today is relatively low, which is not what you want to see on a big green day. Look at some of the others. That one that Disguise This Guy pointed out in the chat today, ED. This is Con Ed. You know, this one's making a really nice move as well, but also coming into resistance. So you could maybe, you know, one of the things you could do is maybe flip to a chart of this for a little while. And what are some of those other? I can't remember these other energy companies off the top of my head. But yeah, okay. So this one has started to outperform the S&P in the last couple of days. And come on, barely outperforming. So, which means it's probably not outperforming XLU. Well, I must be hiding behind this. This is. I'm going to just bring that over there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it is underperforming XLU. So I've switched this from performance versus SPY. Now we're looking at performance versus XLU, the utility sector. And that one is underperforming. And I bet you Con Ed is outperforming. Whatever comes up. That little indicator is slow. Con Ed's actually not doing that well either against XLU. Did have some outperformance, but not so much right now. Okay. I guess the deal is here. I'm trying to find a clue to what might happen, and I can't find it. Like I'm trying to find a clue that says that, you know, it's going to break through resistance.
Right.
You know, that resistance isn't going to be a resistance, and I think that we have to sort of default to that position right now. So I would say that if this starts to roll over from here, you might want to get out because this is shown when it comes up to this level and throws a red candle up, that it's a pretty quick move down.
Yeah.
So you've got a little buffer to play with here.
All right. Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Was there anything else you want to look at?
Yeah. Let's say. Oh, what'd you think about HIMS today? HIMS kind of had a.
It had a little bit. I wasn't watching that closely. Oh, okay, yeah, that pulled back a little more even.
Yeah.
Pulled back to the bottom of the recent consolidation and bounced there. So, yeah, I mean, I still think, this is just now it's turning into a multi-week consolidation.
Yeah.
I think as long as it continues to consolidate, that's fine. What we don't want to see is for it to start breaking out at the bottom of these consolidations. So I think we should probably get a little, I'll just extend that across with a line. Well, yeah, I mean, so this is, this is an area here we don't want to see it fall through. We have the bottom of this old gap here. That should be kind of support. And then the real support comes down in here at $8 to $8.30 here. But I really don't think it's going to get there. I think that it just needs more time in this consolidation. It needs a market that's more decisive. The only thing that kind of worries me about this is that, healthcare has been so strong for a few weeks now, and this is not being strong. This is, relatively weak to healthcare.
Okay.
And, I mean, if I change this, this is on utilities right now. Let's change this to XLV. Okay. You can see that for quite some time, through almost all of this up move, this outperformed the healthcare sector until it topped out here. And then, it underperformed a little bit, and then its performance was perfect. But now healthcare has been making a strong move the last couple of days, and this is coming down, underperforming healthcare. So this becomes a little bit of a concern for me, because why is it underperforming healthcare all of a sudden? So, the question that I ask when I see that.
Right.
How are we doing against SPY on this one? So yeah, kind of the same thing here. Still, ever so slightly outperforming SPY, but not in the last couple of days. But you can see how this, I mean, this does chop around a little bit, and this could just be noise, what's going on here. Just like up in here, all this is just really is kind of noise right now.
Yeah.
So until it does something definitive one way or the other, it's really hard to say. I can't say that it's going to go up and break out of this. I mean, it should go up and break out of this because it is in an uptrend, right? It's in a very long-term uptrend. This uptrend really started back in of May of last year. So no reason to, that shouldn't continue. But it's made a really good move. It's come from, I mean, a year ago it was at $2.71. And we're up and around $10 now. So we should be able to give this some time to consolidate and go sideways for a bit. And, that's healthy. So I think, longer term, nothing we're seeing here right now is unhealthy. And we all want these things to just go up in a straight line and never pause. But that's not the way it works, right? And sometimes these things do need to pause.
No, I agree. I was actually thinking the same thing. But I just kind of wanted to get that confirmation from you because it's been going sideways for like what is it, like a couple weeks already?
This is getting
But
close to 3 weeks, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
green candle here and that's when this consolidation started. So that was March 17th.
yeah.
So yeah, pretty much 3 weeks. So I mean, that's fine. And we haven't, we've seen consolidations near this length in this before. Here's one that's 2 weeks long, and it came out of one that was 2 weeks long. Had one here at a couple of weeks. This one was bigger, obviously, but really, I mean, this one was like many months long if you look at it from in here, right?
Right, right.
So, but yeah, I mean, what's happening now is much tighter. No, I think it's fine. I think there's really nothing here to be concerned about at the moment.
All right, sounds good. Um, Question though, do you know if TradingView has the little tabs you have in the bottom where you have
Right. No, I don't think so.
yeah, because it's so convenient when I see you use it. I'm like,
Yes,
I
it
wish
is.
I had it.
It is very convenient. Yeah, because I mean, I know I have tried to do it in TradingView, and
Okay.
that's why I have stacked subcharts, right? And I kind of hate that. It just takes up so much real estate for stuff
Yeah,
you look at once in a while. So yeah, I can see why you would think that's really convenient.
yeah, because my mind's the same way. It's all stacked up, and sometimes I'll close one, but then you'll still have a little space where it should be,
Right.
like a little line, so which
Yeah.
still takes up a couple, so if you have like three or four things, there's like three or four really long rectangles on the bottom still.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the things you can do, I don't know, just a little shortcut. You might already know this. If you double tick or double click it, it'll just give you full screen basically on just the chart.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, you don't get volume when you do that because the volume is in a separate pane here. Well, actually, you can't tell that it's volume. Another thing you can do, actually, you can stack up indicators on top of each other. So you can see, like on my volume chart here, I have like on balance volume on top of my volume chart. So there's no reason why I couldn't throw something else on there as well. If I wanted to if I wanted to throw, my RSI onto that, I could. So that, the volume chart would also share the RSI. It does make things kind of messy though, and, can make things a little more difficult to read sometimes. So
Yeah.
that may not be a great solution either. All right.
Ooh. Do you have time for one more, Kevin?
Yes, I do.
So Workday, I traded Workday. But today on today's candle, like I ended up getting out.
Yeah.
So I bought the breakout. I sold maybe half my position on the top.
Okay.
And then today, unfortunately, I didn't wake up on time because I was sick. So
Right.
I ended up. It actually hit my stop alert, but I was just asleep.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting out towards the bottom of today. But then I started to second guess myself when it started to climb back up a little bit.
Yeah.
And what do you think about when like a stock climbs up like that towards the end? Because to me, it kind of looks like it's going to want to go up tomorrow, especially with a strong wick like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a not a bad looking hammer candle. It's got good volume.
Yeah.
The highest volume we've seen since February, right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's not much of a downtrend. It's a 1-day downtrend, or maybe a 2-day downtrend. And you've got a hammer candle at the end of it. So how valid is that? It's definitely a reversal of that gap down. You know, I got out of work. Did I get out yesterday, or I think I got out the day before yesterday, Monday, when I did this. Because I didn't like it. I didn't like the gap down, and then it started going lower.
Okay.
So I bailed on the rest of it. I already taken half. I was half off as well, I think, before
Yeah.
Monday. So yeah, I mean, I was seeing warning signs that there could be weakness.
Yeah.
And I did. Yeah. If I didn't mention that in the Discord, I apologize, because maybe that might have cut you out sooner.
Oh no, that's totally fine. I mean, I like a lot of the stuff I kind of want to figure out like on my own, anyways. You know, and like
Good, good.
yeah.
So let's okay. So looking at this intraday, you know, I mean, intraday. I mean, the gap down doesn't look that bad.
Yeah.
This plunge, but you know what? I mean, almost every stock you would look at today has this plunge early in the morning. Got a nice double bottom here. I like the fact that this retested, and then it was, you know, smooth up smoothly the rest of the day. And you can see that after once it made the bottom the second time, notice here how it nicely outperformed SPY the entire rest of the day.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign too. So, but you know, is that good enough to get back in? I don't know. I mean, are you? I guess you're thinking this goes higher. It's going to go out, you know, above the top of this. And I guess the other thing we should mention here is that okay, so we had this breakout. We've come back now and retested, and we've drawn a hammer candle there, and we've got the nice buying wick and everything on the retest. So that is also bullish.
Well, because I was just thinking that, you know, some more conservative like traders, don't they wait for a pullback? And
Yes.
is that the type of pullback that is this the type of pullback they would wait for? Is I guess what I'm wondering.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
See, I'm not good at that, because I figure if I'm going to wait for a pullback, I want it to come down here, and then I want it to spend a day or two there, and then I want it to go. I want it to consolidate. I want to see a tight little candle that I can use, that I can risk against, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, I want to see, you know, a couple little tiny candles like that one down here, and then because then I can know that okay, I can enter here, and I can risk to here. But what I don't want to do is enter here and risk to here. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you were looking at this intraday, so really, if you're looking at this, if you're that kind of player looking for a bounce here, then you've got to be looking at this and getting in here or here, right?
Yeah.
You've seen it come down to there. You're probably not going to buy it on the first little bounce here. You probably want a little more proof because this was such a severe pullback here. But you know, then you just start drawing some lines on your chart here. You know, I mean, first lines you're going to have on your chart is, you know, that downtrend is like, okay, yeah, that it broke that. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, is that back to SPY? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. And then, so you got that one. So then you break that, and so you got like, you know, you've got sort of key area in around here, something like that, perhaps. And you can see that there were traders actually bought out of that consolidation. That's why that's such a big bar. You get another night. Look at this here. I think we talked about this last time or recently. How tight this little consolidation is here. It's 4 bars long. In a perfect world, this would have been 5. But you know, people bought out of that consolidation, and it's even intraday has given us an example of the kind of pullback that you might want to buy. So you get the one candle up, you get two candles down. But these this candle has got bottom of sort of the breakout area here, and also one of the standard deviations of VWAP, and these moving averages, all supporting this. So this gives you more proof in this area that, yeah, okay, this is really getting ready to go. So that kind of means that you sort of have to buy that breakout right there.
Yeah.
Breakout above that. And then you're off to the races. And that's when it never kind of looked back again, right? Once it, people started buying from that breakout, didn't look back for an hour. And you had one tiny little red candle, and it just really continued up. So I guess if that's how I was going to play the pullback in this thing, that's how I would have done it.
Yeah, I sold out. I sold right on the first bounce, and then I watched it climb up for the rest of the day. Which is, I felt like in my gut that I was, I don't know, like I kind of want to wait. I was gonna exit today regardless, just from the looks of how the morning went.
Right.
But looking back, I feel like I could have waited for a better exit, because in the past I've usually just waited and then found like a better exit towards the end of the day.
Right.
But it's just so funny. Like right when I think I sold it right on the first bounce, the red candle right before the green candle.
This one?
No, like more towards the left.
Here?
There. Yeah, I sold right there.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which in the end, I still my trade was still I still profited from my trade.
Yes.
Especially
yes.
I sold half on a couple days ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, very interesting.
So yeah, the problem with this is, okay, so this is hard. This is hard to deal with, right? It's going down, it's going down. It's one red candle after the next. And then by the time you see this here, this green candle, you think, okay, right, momentum's slowing. All right, maybe this is going to stop. This isn't going to go down any further. Although you were probably still in bed at this time.
I was, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you're not watching this. Just stop me when you got out of bed.
Yeah.
Then you get like these two big red candles, and you're like, oh geez, this is going to go farther. How far is this going to go? And it keeps going. It's more red candles, more red candles. Momentum is slowing a little bit. You see the difference here, right? And we start to slow. Is this the bottom? Oh, look, we got a green candle again. We've actually moved up a little bit. This is a little different. Maybe we're putting in a bottom here. Oh geez, another big red candle. Okay, this big red candle was followed by a smaller red candle, and another little indecisive candle. Oh geez, another big red candle. What the hell, man? And then we get an indecisive candle, and then we get a big red candle, and then but this one we get a big wide buying wick on it, right? And you notice here the volume isn't really increasing a ton. So you're not thinking on some of these candles that like, oh, capitulation, whereas you might have been on some of these others, especially this one back here, that had really high volume. Second highest volume of the day on that candle, I would be thinking, oh, is this capitulation? And if I was thinking about getting out, I would not get out on that candle, because I'd be thinking capitulation. And then, I see these smaller candles. It's like, okay, well, that didn't quite work, but at least it's slowing down. So, you're getting pretty shell-shocked by this time and thinking, when is this going to stop going down? And, we have the tiniest clue there, but when this candle starts to form, you're thinking, oh, it's going to go further. I don't blame you for thinking this is going to go further here. But unfortunately, you did. I mean, you covered right at the bottom.
Yeah.
So I think that... and look at that. I mean, everybody there isn't a trader out there that hasn't bottom ticked a stock like this. It happens, And so one of the things you can do maybe when you see this is like because what happens by the farther this comes down, the more likely it is that it's at the bottom, that it's bottoming out. And if you look at see what the market was doing at the same time, so what time did the market bottom? The market bottomed at 11 o'clock. Yeah, okay. So at the same time this did. Yeah, this actually put in its lowest low before about 10 minutes before the market bottomed. That's interesting. This is why sometimes, watching, or I shouldn't say actually the market didn't bottom. The market put in lower lows after this, but it was a couple hours later. But this is where, maybe watching the market as well at the same time, comparing this to the market can be helpful sometimes. May not have been in this case, but if you just hung on for a couple more candles, I think that obviously you would have seen the market bottoming there, and obviously this bottoming as well. But it didn't have the typical signs of capitulation here, whereas the market kind of did show some signs of capitulation coming in through this area. But we don't have the big volume. If this candle here it had really big volume, then that would have been like, no way I'm selling on this, even if these candles are a little lower, because this had big volume. That does look like capitulation, but didn't. So
I mean, that's what I was looking at too. And actually, I wasn't even out of bed yet. I was on TradingView I was on my TradingView app on my phone.
On the phone, yeah, that's hard.
But cool, definitely something to consider.
Yeah,
lesson. And I'm happy I sold half too. So
yeah, that was definitely the right way to play this. Thing, selling half, because they were selling up here as this was moving up to higher highs, right?
Yeah, I sold on that big green candle, like 2 days after
this one or this one?
That one, yeah.
Perfect, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's where I sold a bunch too, because for the same reason, I mean we were looking at intraday chart, right? We were looking for downside capitulation. Well, up here we're seeing upside capitulation, right? We're seeing kind of blow off top behavior. We've got pretty high volume there. You've got really high volume on the breakout day, which is awesome. And you've got pretty high volume on this day and another big green candle. You've got to take some off there, just a little piece even, because that might be the end of it.
Yeah.
Or a temporary end of it anyway. So yeah, it's a tough one when they do that, because the other thing too is that often what will happen is the following day it'll just fall apart, continue to fall apart, especially if this had closed on its lows, then you need to almost guarantee that this is going to go down the next day.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anything else?
I think that's it for me, unless Marvin has anything else.
Cool. Well, in that case,
No, yeah, I think I'm good. It's just kind of cool to hear you play Verizon, Kevin. You gave me a little reassurance.
cool, awesome. Who we got? What day is it? Okay, yeah, it's Friday, holiday. I should have marked in there. So next week we're going to do trading roundtable, which is just very similar to Ticker Talk, but maybe more, maybe less charts and more psychology, perhaps. I don't know. Anyway, I hope all you guys have a really happy Easter, and enjoy the long weekend. Take at least a day or two away from looking at markets and things. Clear your head and come back next week stronger and ready to attack this, because I think that we've seen a whole week of indecision come at us. So I think that Monday we are going to be making moves one direction or the other. Hopefully that's to the upside. And if we get a half decent non-farm payrolls coming out on Friday morning, then we will see an upside move. So I'll be talking about that non-farm payrolls report in the weekend video, and hopefully seeing you guys all again soon. If you made it this far, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Thanks for coming out, everybody.